Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lunacy with Colleen Marie. I'm your host, and as many of you know, this is an astrological look at the week ahead, and it gives us an opportunity to kind of use the energies of the stars, of the moon, of the sun, and other planetary bodies to help us get a clearer understanding of ourselves and to co create with those energies and have as smooth a week as possible. Now, I will say this is not necessarily an easy time for many of us. Right now, we are in the midst of Mercury retrograde in Gemini season. And Mercury is also in Gemini. What does that mean? Well, Gemini is the sign of the social butterfly, someone who is constantly, their mind is constantly working, sometimes in overdrive. And there's this sense of really wanting to experience new things in our day to day world. The focus isn't so much for a Gemini about big picture questions and philosophies and all of that. Gemini is more focused on what's happening today, tomorrow, yesterday. What is something that, someone else we can kind of gossip about? What are some things we can learn about, but not on a really deep level? It's just this desire to kind of take it all in at once. And right now, as we're headed into June, I know many of us are feeling this shift as mask mandates are shifting in a lot of states. We're starting to want to socialize more and being able to socialize more. There's a huge, huge, huge focus on being around other people more often. And that can be a blessing and a curse, right? Because when we're in retrograde, which Mercury is right now, interacting with other people gets a little difficult. Retrograde energy simply means kind of like a more internalized version of how we're looking at other people, how we're interacting with them. So, because Mercury rules things like communication, when it's not able to move forward in the normal way, it can feel clunky, it can feel awkward, it can feel like we're not able to express ourselves the way we want to, not able to get our points across. It might feel like our brain is a little cloudy, a little foggy. Mercury also rules things like machinery and, the internet and, communications in general. So, ways that we interact with other people, online. Mercury also rules moving parts. So, even things like cars and, um, other types of transportation are ruled by Mercury. So, you might experience some issues with those things as well. And so, just, a heads up that this time may feel a little confusing, a little, you might feel scatterbrained, a little distracted. So, right now is a really good time to actually chill out, focus on dealing with issues that, maybe you've left hanging before. It's time to tie up some of those loose ends. It's a great time to revisit those old things. It's a good time to focus on, you know, the way that you look at the world, trying to be more flexible in the midst of when things don't go the way that we want them to. All of that is really important. You might hear from an old, you know, an ex. You might get have to work on an old project that you found out you thought was finished and it comes resurfacing again. These are all different ways that Mercury retrograde can show itself. I know I work at a preschool and we've been having these ridiculous issues trying to switch to a new internet system. So it makes a lot of sense in Mercury retrograde that it just wasn't moving forward as expected. It took us like 3 weeks to get the whole thing up and running. So this is the type of thing we can expect during Mercury retrograde. But just so you know, it will end in the month of June. So, hold tight for the next couple weeks. This won't last forever. So, the other thing that we have going on today is that the moon is actually in the sign of Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. And Mars is, of course, that planet of aggression and action. So, we might be feeling a little bit protective today or emotionally impulsive. We may feel a little irritable and quick to anger. So, it's something to think about, something to be cautious about. We might be getting annoyed easily with people in our lives. So if you're feeling that way, just try to catch yourself. The other thing that I saw that I thought was really interesting is that the moon is conjunct the asteroid Chiron. If you haven't looked into where Chiron is in your chart, it is fascinating. Chiron is an asteroid that was discovered in 1977 and orbits the sun in between the planet of Saturn, which is all about convention and structure, and Uranus, which is all about breaking free and rebelling and being authentic to our true selves. So Chiron is the bridge between the two, but wherever it stands in your chart often shows you where your wound lies, or one of your wounds, right? We all have these things that we learn from, areas in our lives where maybe we never felt fully appreciated or, worthy. The beautiful thing about the Chiron wound, however, is that we can learn to co-create with it and to, heal. And Chiron is called the wounded healer. It is from that place of wounding that we become capable of helping other people because we can empathize. We've been where they've been. So when we see that this moon is conjunct the planet of Chiron in Aries, this is activating some of this, wounding and healing energy. And it's allowing us this chance to assert our autonomy because Chiron and Aries is all about learning how to believe in yourself, believe in your mission, believe in your energy, believe in your ability to get things done. This is the importance of Chiron and the moon. And it may force you into situations if you haven't done the work, if you're in relationships that are codependent, unhealthy, toxic. This time, which is on, today, this weekend, moving forward, just the moon moves quickly. So this is just a quick little glimpse into this energy. But what we're going to experience this weekend is you might find that outside influences force you to assert yourself more readily and to not be so afraid to speak up for yourself and to set some boundaries. Those are all really important Chiron and Aries themes. So something to be thinking about. The other thing that's happening is we do have the moon sextile the sun right now, which is a really positive connection. It makes us feel a little bit more confident, as if our desires and our needs are aligned and working with each other. So this should help you express yourself well and give you, that confidence you need to handle whatever comes your way with this moon Chiron and moon in Aries energy. And then the other thing we have is the sun is trine Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of lessons, but also of hard work. So you might be able to find that ability to really focus and face challenge today. So if there is some old project that kind of resurfaces that you need to kind of focus on, you do have the stars on your side to do that today. I know I have a little bit more work to do before I can really call it the end of my work week. So buckle down, focus on that, use that energy from Saturn and Moon, and the Sun trine Saturn, and it should carry you through until we get to celebrate with a nice weekend. So the weekend, I will say, might be a good opportunity for us to kind of try to slow down a little bit. The moon is moving into the steadier, more grounded, more peaceful sign of Taurus. And this is just in time for this weekend. There is also right now a really strong opposition between two heavy hitting, intense planets. We have Pluto on one hand in Capricorn, which is all about a desire for success in a way that is willing to, excavate the deeper feelings that we have around money and, worthiness and how we're viewed by others and how we can show up in that way, and really take our power back. And then at the same time, we have Mars in the sign of Cancer. Mars, it doesn't really love to be in Cancer because Cancer is ruled by the moon. It's much more feminine. Mars wants things to be clear cut and straightforward. So when it's in the sign of Cancer, we might be feeling a little bit conflicted between our work life and our home life. Maybe, finding that we are quick again to anger or be emotionally impulsive and not necessarily respond in the most positive way to other people's emotional needs. Maybe we feel emotionally needy right now while also really wanting to see success for ourselves. So there is this push pull between work and home that we're kind of all experiencing right now and especially in this weekend. So these two planets are really fighters and they're intense. So you might find yourself feeling like you need to assert yourself. And we talked about that a little bit already. So this these could all be themes now, especially when it comes to issues around family or the home or your parents. This weekend, you could see some conflict potentially in those areas. And I would say avoid confrontation, but with both Pluto and Mars in action, avoiding confrontation is pretty much impossible. What you could do though is try to face everything with grace, with equanimity, trying to, understand the other person's point of view as much as possible. And also try to take some time alone because we are heading into what's called the dark side of the moon, since we have our new moon coming on Thursday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those are days of what's called that, dark moon chill or dark side of the moon where it's time to go within. So let's first talk about Sunday. So these themes of this Mars Pluto intensity, these continue on Sunday and Monday. And there also are some concerns, most likely around security and money and your your physical health, your physical well-being, your physical surroundings. So we might want to again lay low during this time, spend some time in nature. All of that would be really important right now. We also see that Mercury is square Neptune. And this is where you might be feeling a little bit distracted. You might be feeling a little daydreamy or, ungrounded. This is a great time, Sunday and Monday, to connect with creativity and inspiration and to, welcome any strokes of genius. But it's not so great for really seeing things rationally and therefore, try not to do anything too um, with too much attention to detail necessary. Instead, use Sunday and Monday to think about the big picture, to, get creative, to check out and read a really good fantasy book or watch a really interesting movie that kind of transports you out of the day to day. So that is another thing that we want to be watching for as we head into Sunday and Monday. On Monday, the moon comes into alignment with the planet of Uranus. Uranus is the planet again of freedom and rebelliousness and the unexpected. So this is a great time to, you might find yourself wanting to shake things up emotionally and to really expect the unexpected whenever Uranus is involved. And this is especially going to fall into areas like our relationships, our emotions. We might be feeling, like our moods are really changeable, or we are craving emotional independence, craving some space in our relationship on Monday. So just be cautious of that and how it affects those you love. It's always good to assert our independence emotionally, but of course to do so with as much grace and level-headedness as possible. Moving on, we see that on Tuesday, the 8th, the moon is going to move into Gemini, which it will be in for our new moon eclipse coming up. But it also has some aspects to both Mars and Jupiter. So we're going to be feeling a little expansive. maybe a little fun loving, and our energy levels are probably going to be high on Tuesday. You also might find yourself really fighting for your beliefs and really wanting to assert your emotional, truth. So all of this is very common throughout this entire week is, honoring your needs emotionally and speaking to those. So the other thing that's happening on Tuesday is the moon is going into a void moon, which just means that it does not aspect any other major planets for quite some time. When this happens, just like during Mercury retrograde, just like during this dark side of the moon time, this is the ideal time to focus on things that we may have been avoiding, things that we don't want to have to deal with for much longer. This is a great time to kind of like, okay, there's this part of my life I've been avoiding. I'm going to just take this day on Tuesday to really think about it and to integrate it and to come face to face with it. And this is, again, a really good time to just be taking it easy, going within, recharge, restore, surrender to this ending of our lunar cycle before we go into the new moon on Thursday. And on Wednesday, we see the moon comes trine to Saturn. So we're going to be doing some work on long-term goals and lessons and, a sense of what do I really desire? What do I want to achieve? Those themes are going to be really important for us on Wednesday, which will allow us to really prepare for this new moon energy and to set some intention because that's what the new moon is all about. So we have this beautiful new moon in Gemini on June 10th at 6:52 a.m. if you're on the eastern coast, and it is a solar eclipse. So what does that mean? Astrologically, it means so much. Well, first, let's talk a little bit more about what it means to have a new moon in the sign of Gemini. So, we've been talking about how Gemini is one of the most fast thinking, mentally sharp of the signs. Geminis want to make connections, they want to network with people, they want to see people, they want to socialize, they want to chat, they want to talk about ideas, but ones that are immediate and maybe not so, long term, but like, what did that person just say and what just happened yesterday? There's this desire to kind of like put feelers out in every direction and take little bits of information from every direction. So this is really where, focusing on the day to day is this is the time to do that. It's a really good time to, connect with other people. It's a really good time to also be willing to kind of observe and take in and, watch the situation as it unfolds around you. So whenever we see a new moon, it essentially means that the sun and the moon are in alignment. So the sun is all about our identity, our desires, how we want to show up in the world, whereas the moon is about our emotional selves and our deepest needs and what makes us feel nurtured. So when the two are together, and especially during an eclipse, there is this really deep focus on what do I need right now? And the fact that we are also in a, somebody said I can see your feet. Okay. And the fact that we are also in a conjunct to, we're in Gemini and we're conjunct to, oh, I think that was a question. No, you can't see my feet. Sorry. So funny. I'm on Twitch as well as Facebook, so I'm getting funny messages on Twitch that are making me laugh. Okay, so to make it more, to make it even more heightened, we've got it in the sign of Gemini, and we have it with Mercury conjunct both the sun and moon. And Mercury rules Gemini. So all of this intense mental energy is being kind of coming to this place of fruition together with this new moon eclipse. The other thing it's a lot of self-knowledge is a big theme right now, but also be wary of now they're asking if they can see my socks. I don't have socks on. Um, so being wary of being too forceful in our opinions. And you know what? This is a perfect example of Mercury retrograde and all of this weird energy we're experiencing right now. There's a lot of distraction, a lot of just like, what's going on over there? What's happening? Squirrel. And so it's really common during this time to feel that scatterbrained energy. So whenever we go into an eclipse, what's happening is the nodes of the moon, which is a very, astronomical term that you don't really need to know right now, but the nodes of the moon are involved. And the nodes are where we can actually activate our soul's destiny. And I've done a workshop on this recently, and I'll be offering it for free to on my website soon. So stay tuned for that. Because what's happening whenever we activate our nodes is we're actually activating what our soul's destiny and journey and what its karma and what its highest expression is for each one of us. So, whenever we have a solar eclipse, it's almost like the person we were beforehand and the person we are after are two very different people. So, expect some changes. We had a full moon lunar eclipse a couple weeks ago, and ask yourself what lessons were coming up around that time, because they're going to continue into this solar eclipse. They're complementary. So focusing on this energy, and the full moon was in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the big picture mind. Gemini is the day-to-day mind. So our thinking and our thoughts, our philosophies, our views, our beliefs, all of that is at the forefront right now. So be aware of how you show up in the next few days. Be aware of how your emotions may get triggered, and take this time to allow yourself to relax, restore, surrender, come into a place of peace, so that when you set new intentions for the new moon, you're able to do so unencumbered by the past and ready to really start fresh and start new. And I look forward to, connecting with you guys. If anyone ever wants to book a session with me to learn more about your personal chart and how it interacts with what's going on, you can head over to ColleenMarieHealing.com and book your own reading. Otherwise, I have an email list that I love to interact with if you want to be a part of that, where I announce any specials and all that good stuff, and you can sign up on my website as well. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, despite all of these, intense energies. And if you have questions, reach out. Have a good one. Bye.